Hey guys, this is John, and I'm playing Kovath in a 5-minute pool in ICC. He plays d4, and let's open with d5 once again, and maybe I'll play something mainline this time around. Have I played this? Yeah, this is Darwin Yang. I thought it was him, I just had to check his finger notes to confirm, but international master from Texas, the Dallas area. I usually play bishop g6 in this position. Bishop e4 is a little sharper, but I prefer bishop g6. So white gets the bishop pair, but black maintains a sound pawn structure. Bishop d3. I wonder if I play bishop d6 if he'll play f4 and try to bind the position. I could try g5. That would be kind of experimental, but it might be interesting. Yeah, let's try it. So as a way to discourage f4. This move seems a bit premature, but it does carry with it the idea of g4 as well, trying to play down the h-file. I can't play it right now because he takes, and I don't have compensation. So maybe bishop d6 now. He could play e4, after which bishop takes g5 is an idea. He's going to do this instead. He might still be going for a bind, it seems. Okay, so bishop c7, he'll probably play f4. Right. All right, so do I take and then play knight h5? Is that an idea? Do I play knight h5 right away? I think taking makes perfect sense. Now what will be the follow-up? I mean, knight h5 is what my instincts say to do. I wonder if he could play g4 then. No, I think this is the way to go. I want to get my queen working into h4 too. So threaten the pawn, kind of eye the g3 square, probably castle queenside if we can. I think queen coming into h4 is pretty strong. Also, the d pawn is weak. I wonder if it was possible to target that. Castle queenside now. f5 is another possibility. f5 and like try to send the knight into e4. So many options. He can't really play bishop f2 now because I take on f4. So there is that. Queen g3 could be played. These are positions I have a tough time in because I think I have so many good options. Then I wind up getting in time pressure. So we'll go with f5. We create a weakness on e6, but it's currently hard for him to attack. I like the clamp that we get on e4. I mean, if possible, as I mentioned, knight f6 to e4 would be a powerful maneuver. Okay, now let's castle. If bishop f2, again, queen takes f4. We're threatening mate on h2 at that point. Maybe knight e2 is not a bad idea for him. Because that way he reinforces f4 and d4, and maybe bishop f2 becomes possible. Doesn't look like he's going to do it, though. g5 would be a brute force way to play this position, but if he takes, I don't know what I have. So probably getting this guy into e4 is a good start. I'm just going to ignore that b-pawn rushing up the board. Plays the knight back. Okay, so g5. We all in agreement? g5? Yeah, let's do it. We have to meet his queenside pawn storm with something of our own on the king side. Otherwise, we're just going to be forced on the defensive over here. I mean, he's going to take at some point and open up our king, but I think I'm pretty safe. I can always go to d7, and all his resources are clustered over here. He doesn't have a lot of good ways to swing the action back towards the other wing. So if he takes on g5, we'll take with our knight. I would assume that's good for us. Maybe he'll play queen f2 then? Takes on e4 instead. Surprised by that move. Which way to take? If I take here, he has queen g4, so let's take this way. He just resigned. Wow. Yeah, I mean, if queen f2, I was going to trade queens and then take on f4. And he loses d4 at the end of that line, at the very least. Like, for instance, queen f2, take. Let's say bishop takes. Well, actually, rook takes, I think is better. Rook takes. Take here. I mean, this is just a very simple variation. There might be other things, but something like this, and then I win d4 at the end of the line, and I'm up a clean pawn, but I'm still surprised he resigned. I think rook ae1 was not a good move. Right here. Like, this move looks natural, but it doesn't really help him, because there's too much stuff in the way on the e-file for him to realistically try to set up rook takes e6. Let's go back and have a look, though. This is a good player. He's a GM elect. I think he has all the norms. It just needs the rating, and I know he's been like very close, like maybe even within like a few points of 2,500 FIDE. So this is the Slow Slav with bishop f5. Been a while since I played this. I have games with this line on my channel. Basically, black can get away with playing bishop f5 in this case because if take queen b3, the d5 pawn is guarded well enough where black can assign the queen to defend a b pawn, so like queen c7, without fear of queen takes d5 since we already have the knight out. We're also hitting the bishop on c1 too. So hence white plays knight c3 and then e6, and knight h4 is considered to be the best way for an advantage here, so trying to hunt down the bishop pair. And there's three options. There's bishop g4, there's bishop e4, and the move I played, bishop g6. I think bishop g6 is the most reliable. Bishop g4 is probably the least reliable. Bishop e4 is somewhere in between. Bishop e4 tries to get white to play f3, and only then do you drop the bishop back to g6. It's more double-edged, but I have much more experience with bishop g6 right away, so I played that. He takes h3. Yeah, and I've faced this idea before, and that's why I played g5 as kind of a preemptive strike against f4. If black plays bishop d6, the idea is f4. Or actually, it'd probably be c5 first and then f4. So trying to establish a clamp across the entire board. And it can be tough for black because you want to get breaks like g5 or e5 in, but these pawns have a restricting influence. I wonder if I could play b6 in this case. b6, b4, a5, something along these lines. But g5 was interesting too. I've never played this move in this position, or this early for that matter, but it might be okay. So he castled, I played bishop d6, and then he went c5. The computer thinks that taking on d5 is better. I would probably take with my c-pawn in that case, because if I take with the e-pawn, I feel like it's a license for him to play e4 soon. Either right now, or maybe after rook e1. So I would have taken with the c-pawn more than likely, but again e4. This is a problem. If these exchanges happen, yeah, g5 is still weak. It is defended by my queen, but my b7 pawn is under attack. And if rook b8, d5 trying to open the position, the computer claims an edge for white. Yeah, my light squares are pretty weak. And one problem I have is that knight f6 cannot be played because of bishop takes g5 with the pin. So maybe he should look to play this position without establishing the bind. So without playing c5, f4. And instead, like, take on d5 or push in the center. So he does this, bishop c7, g5. We swap. Yeah, I can play b6 as the computer's suggesting and try to attack him on the opposite flank. But knight h5 seemed to be okay too. Here the engine likes queen e1, probably taking the h4 square under observation, stopping my queen from popping out there. Instead, queen f3. I played queen h4. I think this is good. Bishop e3. Engine does not like that move. Much prefers knight e2. Defending f4. So if I play the same thing, f5, now queen e3. Yeah, it's a position where I think he has to play it in kind of non-standard fashion already. Like, he made some standard-looking moves, like bishop e3 and rook over to the center, but that didn't help his cause. So knight e2 is a better choice. What if I just castle here? Rook b1. Yeah, it does look a bit better. So I guess the point is the bishop's not really doing anything on e3, and it's more important to prioritize knight e2. It still looks kind of dangerous for him, though. g5, take, knight g3. And if take, I can actually take
Check.
here. Huh. What if queen f2? Oh, that just loses the bishop. Okay. And bishop e3 also loses the bishop. And if he goes to the h-file, knight e5 is good with the fork. Well, I would say black firmly has the initiative now, though, especially after bishop e3. I spent a little time on f5. I wasn't quite sure about that because it already seemed to me that my position was promising. I just was debating which way to proceed. I could castle right away, but somehow f5 seems correct, like clamping this square, and as I said, like trying to maneuver the knight in through f6 to e4. Yeah, and this move also, well, the computer thinks it's okay. I just didn't see what that was doing to help him. Castle, and I think his big problem is it's hard for him to chase the queen away with bishop f2 because I always just take here, threatening mate. And if we swap queens, I take with the knight, simultaneously attacking d3 and guarding e6. So that's downhill for him. So he played b4. Maybe knight e2 is called for. But b4, knight df6, b5. The knight comes into e4. We're just going to ignore his attack. We don't want to take or anything. We don't want to like bring our pawns closer to him. We just want to let him move up the board, take the maximum amount of time to develop his initiative. So knight e2. Having just said that, the computer thinks that c takes b5 is the best move. But I think g5 right away is also good. And he takes here and pretty much just ends up in a hopeless position. Yeah, I was expecting f takes g5, after which I would take here. He probably does have to part with this bishop. Queen takes. And it's a great position for me. I've got played on the h and g files. My dark square bishop is mighty piece. Take, take. Rook b1 is the engine suggestion. Rook dg8. Yeah, I think the safety of the kings is deceptive at first. I mean, it might look like black's king is exposed, but as I said, if necessary, I can always bail to the d7 square.
Check.
It's cozy here. He's not going to be able to like pry my king open. Although, whoops, rook b7 instead. I guess it remains to be seen like whose attack is stronger. Rook g7, rook fb1, rook hg8. If he develops his attack properly, he probably can balance the play that I will have going against his king. But on the whole, I would rather be black in this scenario. There might be some better way to play this too. After rook b1, let's say. But as played, he did not take on g5. He played bishop takes e4 and then just resigned. But yeah, queen f2, queen takes f2, rook takes f2, take f4. We get all these exchanges going on. And I just take on d4 at the end, and it should just be technique at this point. This is a very strong pawn cluster. His h-pawn is not dangerous. c5 is weak. I would have played this out for white, especially with the time differential, but I can understand why he resigned. Okay, hope you guys enjoyed this game. I'll be back tomorrow with another Blitz game. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.